In the early morning hours of September 8th, 1968, Padre Pio awoke weeping. His tears weren't tears of sorrow. They were tears of a joy so profound, words couldn't capture it. He had seen something about this day that will ever change how you understand the protection of your home. Have you ever wondered why some homes seem blessed? Why in some families, peace endures, even when the world is consumed by chaos? Why certain prayers seem to create an invisible barrier around a dwelling? Today, you will uncover a secret Padre Pio guarded for decades, a mystery linked to the birth of the Virgin Mary that can transform your home into a true sanctuary. But before I reveal this secret, I need you to understand something. What I'm about to share isn't just another devotion. It's a calling, an invitation to participate in something that began over 2,000 years ago and culminates precisely today on the Nativity of Our Lady. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your home as it is now. The rooms you know, the hallways you traverse every day, the windows through which the light enters every morning. Now imagine that each space can be touched by a maternal presence, a presence that protects, that blesses, that transforms. This isn't fantasy, it's spiritual reality. In 1947, a family from San Giovanni Rotondo sought out Padre Pio in desperation. For months, strange things had been happening in their home. Constant arguments, nightmares that terrorized the children, an oppressive feeling no one could explain. The mother, in tears, pleaded with the saint. "Padre, our home has become hell. What do we do?" Padre Pio looked into the woman's eyes and said something that changed everything. "Daughter, you have never asked permission from the true mistress of the house." True mistress of the house? What mysterious words were these? You need to understand something fundamental about Padre Pio. He didn't speak idly. Every word that came from his lips carried the weight of eternity. He said there was a true mistress of the house. It wasn't a metaphor. It was a revelation. During 50 years of ministry, Padre Pio discovered there's a direct connection between the birth of Mary and the protection of Catholic homes. A connection so powerful, it can transform any environment into a spiritual fortress. But why specifically on September 8th? What's so special about this date that makes it a unique spiritual portal? The answer lies hidden in a vision Padre Pio had in 1958. It was the day of Mary's birth. During the early morning Mass, as he elevated the consecrated host, Padre Pio saw something extraordinary. He saw a golden light expanding from the church, enveloping all the homes around. In every home where there was an image of Our Lady, the light intensified. In every home where someone prayed with Marian devotion, the protection multiplied. But there was more. Padre Pio saw that on this specific day, on the anniversary of Mary's birth, the heavens open in a special way to receive family consecrations. As if God Himself granted an extraordinary grace to those who knew how to take advantage of this sacred date. When Padre Pio descended from the altar that morning, his first words were, "Today is the day Our Lady chooses her homes. Blessed are the homes that open to her." Chooses her homes. Do you grasp the weight of those words? Our Lady doesn't invade. She doesn't force her entry. She waits to be invited. And when that happens, especially on the day of her birth, the transformation is immediate and permanent. I know what you're thinking. How does this work in practice? What exactly should I do? Have patience. I will teach you every step. But first, you need to understand why your home needs this consecration. We live in times where negative influences don't respect doors or windows. They enter through the internet, television, the conversations we bring in from the street. They enter through our own anxieties, our fears, our frustrations. Gradually, they contaminate the family environment. You noticed how some homes have a different energy? How some families, even when facing difficulties, preserve harmony? How some homes radiate peace, while others seem to carry a cloud of sadness? The difference isn't in the size of the house. It's not in the decor. It's not even in the financial situation. The difference lies in the spiritual presence that inhabits that home. Padre Pio understood this profoundly. That's why he developed a specific practice for September 8th, a way to invite Mary to be the true mistress of the house, to establish her maternal presence as a protective shield for the entire family. 1962, a woman named Giuseppina sought out Padre Pio with a desperate situation. Her teenage son had gotten involved with bad company. Arguments at home were daily. Family atmosphere was disintegrating. Padre, she said, I've tried everything. Prayers, novenas, conversations, nothing works. Padre Pio took a deep breath and replied, Giuseppina, have you consecrated your home to the Madonna? Have you asked her to be the queen of your home? The woman hesitated. Prayed, yes. She had images of Our Lady throughout the house, but she had never performed a formal consecration. She had never truly surrendered her home to Marian protection. Do it on September 8th, Padre Pio continued. Use the words I will teach you, and you will see the miracle happen. 3 months later, Giuseppina returned radiant. Her son had abandoned bad company on his own. The arguments had ceased. Peace had returned to the home. Padre, she said, my home has become a little piece of heaven. Padre Pio smiled and replied, Mary enters a home as mistress. She brings heaven with her. Understand what this means? It's not just about having an image of Our Lady on the wall. It's not just about praying the rosary once a week. It's about performing a formal act of surrender, of recognizing Mary as the true lady of the home, asking her to assume the spiritual protection of all who live under that roof. Why on September 8th? Because it's her birthday. It's the day heaven celebrates the arrival of the woman who would change the destiny of humanity. It's the day when Marian graces flow with greater abundance. Imagine for a moment, more than 2,000 years ago, in a small house in Nazareth, a girl was born who carried within her the destiny of all humanity. That house became sacred simply by sheltering Mary. All creation celebrated that birth. Angels sang. God himself smiled. Today, at this very moment, as you listen to me, heaven is celebrating that birth again. And you have the unique opportunity to connect your home to this celestial celebration. But you need to understand something very important. This consecration isn't magic. It's not superstition. It's an act of faith that establishes a spiritual reality. When you formally consecrate your home to Our Lady, you are doing what the Church has always taught. You are placing your family under the protection of the one who is Mother of the Church. You are inviting the Queen of Heaven to also be Queen of your home. Padre Pio used to say, a home consecrated to the Blessed Virgin Mary is a home where the devil cannot enter, where temptation loses its power, where the family finds strength to resist evil. And he wasn't speaking from theory. He spoke from experience. For decades, Padre Pio guided thousands of families in this practice. And the testimonies were always the same. Homes that were battlegrounds transformed into oases of peace. Rebellious children discovered the path back. Couples in crisis found new harmony. Financial problems resolved inexplicably. Not because Mary is a fairy godmother who solves everything with a magic wand. Because her presence in a home brings spiritual order. Where there is spiritual order, everything else aligns. Have you ever noticed how your home has its own atmosphere? How depending on the day, it feels more welcoming or more heavy. How certain conversations flow better in some environments and in others seem impossible. This happens because every home has a spiritual dimension. Every home carries an energy that is the result of the emotions, the words, the intentions that circulate there. And this energy profoundly influences everyone who lives in that space. When you consecrate your home to Our Lady, you are asking her to purify this spiritual atmosphere, to bring her maternal presence to every room, every conversation, every moment of family togetherness. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. The darkness cannot resist the light. It simply disappears. In 1965, Padre Pio received a visit from a desperate couple. They had 3 young children, and in recent months, the children had developed inexplicable fears. They would wake up screaming every night. They refused to be alone in any room of the house. The family was exhausted. "Padre," the mother said, "seems my house is haunted." Padre Pio looked at her seriously and asked, "Have you consecrated your home to the Blessed Virgin Mary?" "I don't know how to do that," the woman replied, "and you will learn today." The saint said, "Because where Our Lady reigns, no shadow can remain." He taught that couple exactly what I'm going to teach you. A specific prayer for September 8th. A way to formally entrust your home to Marian protection. A simple ritual, but profoundly powerful. 2 weeks later, the couple returned to give thanks. The children were sleeping peacefully again. The atmosphere of the house had completely changed. "Padre," the father said, moved, "it seems our house has gained a mother." And Padre Pio replied, "It doesn't seem so. It truly has." Do you see the difference? It's not about impression. It's not about auto-suggestion. You truly consecrate your home to Our Lady. A spiritual reality is established. Mary truly assumes the motherhood of that home. But for this to happen, you need to do your part. You need to know the right words. You need to understand the right moment. You need to perform the consecration in the way Padre Pio taught. That's exactly what I'm going to reveal to you now. The first thing Padre Pio always emphasized was the moment. His consecration should be done specifically on September 8th, preferably in the morning. Why? Because that's when the veil between heaven and earth is thinnest. It's when Marian graces flow with greater intensity. The day of a mother's birth, Padre Pio used to say, is always a day of special blessings for her children. Pay attention. It's not just any prayer that works. It's not just any gesture that establishes this spiritual reality. There's a specific way, transmitted by Padre Pio himself, that you need to know. In 1961, he dictated these words to a nun who handled correspondence at the convent. "Write exactly as I speak. Not one comma more, not one less." These are the words Our Lady wants to hear. Are you ready to hear this prayer? Take a pen and paper or record it on your phone, because you will need these exact words next September 8th. Padre Pio always began like this: Most Holy Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus and our Mother, on this blessed day of your birth, I come before you with a heart full of confidence. You know the needs of this home and all who dwell within. Pause for a moment. Feel the weight of these words. You are not just reciting a formula. You are establishing a dialogue. You are acknowledging that Mary knows your home better than you do. Continue. I consecrate to you this dwelling and all its rooms. I consecrate the doors so that only good may enter. I consecrate the windows so that only the light of God may enter. Consecrate each room so that it may be a place of holy rest. I consecrate the kitchen so that the food may always be blessed. You see what's happening here? It's not a generic consecration. It's specific. You are entrusting every piece of your home to Our Lady, every space, every function. I especially consecrate the children's room so that they may grow in wisdom and grace. I consecrate the parents' room so that it may be a place of holy love and blessed decisions. But Padre Pio didn't stop there. He knew that a home is not only made of rooms, it is made of relationships. Therefore, the prayer continues. I consecrate all the conversations that take place in this home so that they may always be edifying. I consecrate all family decisions so that they may be made according to God's will. I consecrate all moments of joy so that they may be occasions of gratitude. I consecrate all moments of difficulty so that they may be opportunities for spiritual growth. Now comes the most important part, the total surrender. Most Holy Virgin, I entrust to you the keys of this house. Be you the true owner. Be you who decides who enters and who leaves. Be you who blesses and protects. May your maternal presence be felt in every corner of this dwelling. The closing, which Padre Pio considered fundamental. May this house be a reflection of the house of Nazareth. May the same peace, the same harmony, the same love that reigned in the home where you grew up reign here. May all the blessings of this holy day of your birth descend abundantly upon this family. Amen. But it doesn't end there. Padre Pio always guided the faithful to perform some concrete gestures during this prayer. First, you must walk through every room of your home during the prayer. In each space, make the sign of the cross and sprinkle some holy water. Don't have holy water? Get some ordinary water. Blessed at the nearest church before September 8th. Second, in each room, leave a small image or medal of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It doesn't need to be large or expensive. A simple holy card will do. What's important is the symbolic gesture of establishing Mary's presence in each space. Third, light a white candle throughout the consecration. Keep it burning until it's completely consumed. This light represents Mary's presence illuminating every corner of your home. But Father, you might be wondering, what if I live alone? What if I don't have children? Does this prayer still work? Of course it works. Padre Pio ministered to people from all walks of life. The prayer can be adapted to your reality, but always maintaining its essence, the complete surrender of your home to Our Lady. If you live alone, adapt it like this. I consecrate my room to be a place of holy rest and prayer. I consecrate the work I do in this home to always be offered to God. The important thing is that the consecration is complete, that it encompasses your entire domestic life. In 1963, a widow named Rosa sought out Padre Pio. She lived alone in a small house and felt very lonely, especially at night. Father, she said, my home feels so empty without my husband. Padre Pio taught her to do this consecration. "Rosa," he said, "when Our Lady is the mistress of your home, you will never feel alone again. Because where the Mother of God is, there is all the company of heaven." 3 months later, Rosa returned transformed. "Father," she said radiantly, "my small house became immense when Our Lady entered it. You see the miracle that happens? It's not that the problems magically disappear. It's that the perspective changes. It's that Mary's maternal presence brings peace to situations that previously caused anguish. But I need to warn you about something very important. This consecration is not to be done haphazardly. It's not to be done hurriedly. Between one commitment and another, it is to be done with reverence, with faith, with time. Padre Pio always said, when you go to visit an important person, you prepare yourself, don't you? When Our Lady is going to take possession of your home, you also need to prepare. How to prepare? First, in the days leading up to September 8th, do a special cleaning of the house. Not just physical, but also spiritual. Remove objects that may have a negative connotation, images that don't uplift, books or magazines that don't contribute to a holy environment. Second, in the 3 days prior, pray the Rosary daily, asking Our Lady to prepare your heart and your home for this consecration. Third, if possible, fast on the eve. It doesn't have to be a rigorous fast. It can simply be abstaining from something you enjoy, offering this sacrifice as preparation. And on the day of the consecration, start very early. Padre Pio always recommended that it be done at dawn, when the house is still silent, when you can completely concentrate on what you are doing. Dress in clean and nice clothes. It doesn't have to be party attire, but dress as if you were receiving a very special guest. That's exactly what you're doing. During the prayer, don't rush. Stop in each room. Look around. Imagine Our Lady blessing that space. Feel the transformation happening. In 1966, a young couple sought out Padre Pio. They had been married recently and were having many arguments. "Father," said the wife, "it seems that everything becomes a reason for an argument between us." Padre Pio guided them to do this consecration together. "Do it on September 8th, he said, and when you're finished, sit down at the table and talk about the dreams you have for this home. You will see that Our Lady will bless those dreams." 6 months later, they returned to give thanks. Not only had the argument ceased, but they had discovered shared projects they didn't even know existed. "Father," said the husband, "it seems that Our Lady taught us to dream together." And Padre Pio replied, "When a family places itself under the protection of the Mother of God, it receives the same gifts that the Holy Family received in Nazareth." Do you understand the depth of this statement? The Holy Family of Nazareth wasn't perfect because it had no problems. It was perfect because it faced problems with the constant presence of Our Lady. And this can happen in your home too. But let me tell you something that Padre Pio considered fundamental. This consecration needs to be renewed. Not once a year, once a month, on the 8th. Why? Because we live in a world that constantly tries to contaminate our homes. Because every day, negative influences enter through television, the internet, the conversations we bring from the street. The monthly consecration is like a renewal of spiritual protection. A house consecrated only once, Padre Pio said, is like a garden watered only once. It needs constant care to flourish. But calm down. The monthly renewal doesn't have to be as elaborate as the first. It can be simpler. A shorter prayer, a quick sprinkling of holy water, a walk through the main rooms. Important thing is to keep alive the awareness that Our Lady is the mistress of the house, that she is present, that she protects. One more thing that Padre Pio always recommended. After the consecration, place a beautiful image of Our Lady in the central place of the house. It can be in the living room, it can be at the entrance. The important thing is that it's the first thing people see when they enter. Someone enters a consecrated house, he said. They need to know immediately who is the mistress of the place. In 1964, a family did this consecration, following all of Padre Pio's instructions. A few months later, a friend commented, "I don't know how to explain it, but your house has something different. It's as if it were impossible to be in a bad mood here." The woman of the house smiled and replied, "It's because Our Lady is in charge here." That's the sign that the consecration really worked. People feel the difference without you having to explain anything. When your home becomes a place where peace is breathed, conflicts are resolved more easily, where harmony prevails. But I need to warn you about something very important. First few days after the consecration, it's possible that you will face some spiritual resistance. Some family conflicts may even intensify for a while. Don't be alarmed. This is normal. Padre Pio explained it this way. When Our Lady takes over a house, she will put everything in order. Those accustomed to disorder will initially resist. It's like a thorough spring cleaning. At first, the home becomes even more cluttered because you've moved everything. But later, when everything finds its rightful place, harmony is established, lasting. If this happens in your family, don't be discouraged. Continue trusting. Continue renewing the consecration. Continue asking for the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary. In a short time, the transformation will be evident to all. And when this transformation occurs, you will understand why Padre Pio considered this one of the most important practices for Catholic families. Realize that your home has truly become a little piece of heaven on earth. Imagine for a moment what your life will be like when this happens. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that Our Lady is watching over your home. Imagine leaving for work peacefully. She is protecting those who remain. Imagine returning at the end of the day to a home that breathes peace, even if the world outside is in chaos. Imagine your children growing up in an environment blessed by Our Lady. Imagine family conversations flowing with more harmony. Imagine problems being solved with greater wisdom. Imagine your home becoming a haven where everyone wants to be. This is not utopia. It's a reality for thousands of families who have followed Padre Pio's guidance. Final years, when he was already very frail, Padre Pio still received families to guide them on this consecration. Always repeated the same phrase. If I could give only one piece of advice to Catholic families, it would be this: entrust your homes to Our Lady. Everything else will be resolved. Everything else will be resolved. Do you perceive the complete confidence Padre Pio had in this practice? He knew, from decades of experience, that when a family truly places itself under Marian protection, all aspects of domestic life benefit. Communication improves, children become more obedient, couples find more harmony, financial difficulties resolve inexplicably, health strengthens, peace is established. Why? Because where Our Lady reigns, the order of God also reigns, and God's order always brings blessings. But let me ask you a very serious question. Are you willing to make this consecration? Are you willing to truly surrender your home to Our Lady? Or do you only want her help when you need it, but maintaining control in your own hands? Because this consecration only works with total surrender. Our Lady does not accept a supporting role in her own home. She needs to be recognized as the true owner. This means that some things in your domestic life may need to change. Perhaps some television programs you watch, perhaps some conversations that take place at the table, perhaps some family habits that are not consistent with a home consecrated to Our Lady. She will not impose these changes. Her maternal presence will make obvious what builds up and what does not build up the family. It's like when your mother comes to visit. You naturally tidy the house, take better care of the food, moderate the tone of your conversations. Not because she demands it, but because her presence awakens the best in you. With Our Lady, the same thing happens, only permanently and much more profoundly. In 1967, near the end of his life, Padre Pio received a visit from a family that had made the consecration 5 years earlier. They came to thank him for the transformations they had experienced. Father said, "Padre, our home has become such a blessed place that our children prefer to stay home rather than go out with friends." Padre Pio smiled with that smile that everyone who knew him will never forget. And he said, "Our Lady reigns in a home. She makes that home more attractive than any worldly pleasure, because she brings the joy of heaven into the home. Joy of heaven within the home. Can you imagine anything more beautiful? And the most extraordinary thing is that this joy does not depend on external circumstances. Families who experience financial difficulties, but who have their homes consecrated to Our Lady, preserve peace and even joy, because true joy does not come from what we have, but from the presence of those we love. And Our Lady loves your family more than you can imagine. Therefore, on this September 8th, do not let this unique opportunity pass. Make this date a landmark in your family's history. The day your home truly became a blessed home. Prepare in advance. Buy holy water. Get images of Our Lady. Mentally rehearse the prayer that Padre Pio taught. And when the day arrives, get up early, dress nicely, and perform this consecration with all the faith in your heart. But let me give you some more practical guidelines that Padre Pio always repeated. On the day of the consecration, don't schedule anything else. Don't receive visitors. Don't go shopping. Don't solve pending problems. This day, Padre Pio said, must belong entirely to Our Lady and your family. If you have children, even small ones, include them in the consecration. Let them carry the images, or the holy water, or help light the candle. Children, Padre Pio said, are the ones who rejoice most when Our Lady comes to live with them. After the consecration, establish at least one daily moment to remember that Our Lady is the mistress of the house. It could be at lunchtime, saying a quick prayer of thanks. It could be before going to sleep, asking her to protect the sleep of the whole family. It could be when leaving for work, entrusting to her the care of those who remain. Padre Pio also advised that once a week, preferably on Saturday, the whole family should gather for a few minutes to thank Our Lady for the blessings received that week. A family that gives thanks together, he said, is a family that remains united. And there's something else that few know. Padre Pio recommended that after the consecration, the family adopt the habit of praying the Angelus 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. It is a way of keeping Our Lady's presence alive throughout each day, he explained. Because I can guarantee you one thing, you will never regret it. On the contrary, in a few months, you will look back and realize that this was the day everything changed. The day your home gained a mother. The day your family found true peace. And when the next September 8th arrives, you will renew this consecration with even greater joy. Because now, you already know from your own experience what it means to have Our Lady as the mistress of the house. And when that happens, you'll understand why Padre Pio, even with all the extraordinary charisms he possessed, considered this one of the most important practices he could teach. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter how many miracles happen in church if our home isn't a holy place. It doesn't matter how much faith we demonstrate in public if our home isn't a reflection of that faith. The Blessed Virgin Mary wants to transform your home into a little Nazareth, a place where God feels welcome, a place where the family grows in wisdom and divine favor, a place where love reigns supreme. All she expects is your yes. All she needs is your invitation. And when you extend that invitation, this coming September 8th, using the words Padre Pio taught, something extraordinary will happen. Something you'll feel immediately, but which will deepen day by day. Your home will transform into a true domestic sanctuary. And you, as Padre Pio always said, will discover that heaven isn't just up above. Heaven can be right here in your home, protected and blessed by the maternal hands of Our Lady. This is the secret Padre Pio kept for decades, and which you now know. This is the treasure that can forever transform the atmosphere of your home. This is the key that can open the gates of heaven in your own dwelling. From now on, whenever you look at your home, remember, it can be much more than four walls and a roof. It can be a little piece of paradise where Our Lady reigns as Mother and Queen. All starts with a simple prayer on the day of her birth. I want you to understand something very important before we finish. This isn't just another devotion you'll learn and forget. This is a transformative opportunity that appears once a year on September 8th. You let this next September 8th pass without making the consecration. You'll have to wait a whole year to have this unique opportunity again. A whole year in which your home could be under the special protection of Our Lady, but won't be due to simple procrastination. Think of your children. They deserve to grow up in a home blessed by Our Lady. Think of your marriage. Doesn't it deserve the harmony that only Mary's maternal presence can bring? Think of yourself. Don't you deserve to come home every day and find an atmosphere of true peace? Padre Pio used to say, "There is no family too small or too large for this consecration. There is no home too simple or too luxurious." Our Lady doesn't look at the size of the house or the family's financial situation. She only looks at the size of the faith of those who invite her. And he always ended with these words that change thousands of homes. You have a home, however small. You have everything you need to make it a sanctuary. You have a family, however problematic it may seem. You have everything you need to transform it into a holy family. All that's missing is surrendering it all to Our Lady. And it all begins with a simple prayer on the day of her birth. So I ask you, will you let another September 8th pass by? Or will you make this date the most important day in your family's history? The choice is yours. But remember, Our Lady has been waiting for your invitation for a long time. Finally arrives. The transformation will be far beyond what you can imagine.